And back here in Israel, it is one of the most consequential and most controversial votes in recent memory in Israel's parliament, and it is about to get underway now. Lawmakers will soon vote on the defense ministry's bill that would punish religious schools that don't send enough students to report for draft duty. The defense minister wants to boost ultra-Orthodox enlistment progressively over the next several years. Ultra-Orthodox religious schools, called yeshivas, that don't meet those quotas would be hit with heavy fines and sanctions. The High Court last year struck down blanket military exemptions for ultra-Orthodox students, saying it violated the very principle of equality under the law. Let me introduce our guest in studio, Rabbi Tzvi Klebanow. The rabbi is with Amutat Netzchak Yehuda. It's a civilian group that works very closely, hand in hand, with both the IDF and the yeshivas to acclimate ultra-Orthodox soldiers, to bring in Haredi soldiers to the military. So I want to get your reaction to, because you know this issue very well, the fear. What's in the hearts and the minds of these Haredi soldiers? I'd imagine one of the big issues is they don't think they'd be able to maintain a strict religious lifestyle if they are conscripted. How do you deal with that concern? Is that concern valid?
The organization that I represent is the organization that was appointed by the Army to accompany the soldiers, Haredi soldiers, from the moment that they decide to conscript or to recruit into the Israeli Army and through their service and on beyond into civilian life. We don't deal with anything before the point where a soldier makes a decision, a life decision, that he's going to join the Army. As soon as he does that, we're there to accept him and make sure that his service is a successful service and that everything he needs to accomplish happens.
For a ultra-Orthodox religious soldier to feel successful during their duty, does that include adhering to the strict principles of their life, of their religious practice?
Yeah, absolutely. The Army made a decision almost 20 years ago that they wanted Haredim to serve in the IDF. In order to make that happen, they had to create an environment within the IDF that would allow any Haredi young man to perform a meaningful combat service without having to compromise on any religious issues. What does that mean?
Some say that on its face, that's incompatible.
Well, right, but we say in Hebrew, bagadol. At large, what does it mean? It means to create a military environment, and today there are many types. There are combat soldiers and there are support soldiers. But what it means is create an environment that has no women. And I always say the Army can do whatever they want to do. If they decide Monday morning they want to move a mountain from the right side of the street to the left side of the street, they can do it. They just have to want to do it. They have created an environment that doesn't have any women. They've created an environment that has kashrus for food with a supervision level which is acceptable by the Haredi community. They allowed and permitted a civilian organization, which is our organization, to work hand in hand with the Army command structure and help the soldiers on the bases to develop themselves, empowering them with whatever they need to be successful.
All right, let me bring into this conversation our Eli Hochenberg, our diplomatic correspondent live in Israel's parliament, the Knesset, where the vote will soon happen. Eli, my understanding is that there are loyal coalition lawmakers who plan to oppose it, opposition lawmakers who plan to support it. A lot of political allegiances really being strained today. Why is that? And ultimately, does the bill have enough votes to pass?
Well, Jeff, it is indeed a very sensitive issue in Israeli society and politics, but politically speaking, it really is a win-win situation for all. It's a bit complicated. Try to bear with me and we'll break it all down. So you have a right-wing coalition trying to promote this bill, but it consists of two ultra-Orthodox parties that, of course, oppose the bill. On the opposition side, you have the centrist, secularist Yesh Atid party, whose one of its main agenda items was, or still is, the issue of equality and burden and to draft the ultra-Orthodox community. On the other hand, you have the Joint Arab List, who's simply saying, we're not playing your games, ultra-Orthodox, not ultra-Orthodox, IDF, not IDF, we're not voting at all. And you have the Zionist Union that is somewhat leading the opposition, saying this vote is essentially a no-confidence vote to the government as a whole. So politically speaking, you have the right-wing coalition making political gains by promoting this bill. You have the ultra-Orthodox parties making political gains for rejecting the bill. On the opposition, you have one saying, the Zionist Union saying, we are the true leaders of the opposition and we will oppose the bill, and the Yesh Atid party who's saying we're not playing politics, we're playing ideology and we support this motion. So after all the chaos, if you break it all down, it really is a politically beneficial situation for all those involved, and we're not likely to see many surprises today, and the draft bill is expected to pass its first reading, but there's still a long way to go, the second and third readings, and beforehand some amendments, so don't hold your breath.
All right, Ellie will be there live when that first vote happens, coming up later today. She joins us again live from the Knesset. Thank you so much, Ellie. Back in the studio, Rabbi, I want to ask, what do you hear most from these ultra-Orthodox new soldiers who agreed to join the IDF to complete that military service? I mean, what's a fear or a complaint or concern they have that I guess, based on if this does become law, you'd hear a lot more of it from new recruits who are going to be joining the ranks too?
I think it's important to understand, first of all, who is the target audience for the Nahal Haredi and for the service in the IDF for Haredim. We are not proponents of taking anybody out of yeshiva to perform service. But today, there are thousands of young men that need to have a different venue. They need to have a venue that allows them to integrate into society, to get jobs, to provide for their families, and to be successful in their lives. That's where we are. Now, I'll tell you a very short story. If you
1 minute, so if you can.
Right. If you would ask a young man at the beginning of his service, and you say to him, "Why did you join the army?" So 90% of the time, that young man will say, many reasons. I need to move on in life. I need to get a job. I need to get an education, etc., etc. If you ask the same young man 10 months down the line, "Why did you join the army?" The answer is, "What do you mean? I want to give something to the country." So it's a maturing process. They change. They become very, very well adapted and very, very important for them to serve the country.
All right, Rabbi Tzvi Klebanow, thank you, sir, so much for being with us on the program as we await the first vote at Israel's parliament. Appreciate your perspective. Thank you so much.